So should we start with the interview?
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay. You can open any JS editor.
Okay, I would like to open VS Code, sir.
Yeah, any editor you are comfortable with. Okay.
Should I do this full screen?
Yeah, yeah. Please.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So check the comment box. So like, okay, you can write console log of A in first line, and then console log of B in second line,
Okay.
and in the third line, write var A equals to B
A equals to B. Okay.
equals to 5.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So what will be the output of console log of A, and what will be the output of console log of B?
Okay. So we have var A equal to B equal to 5.
Yeah.
So here we are defining A to be a variable declared with var keyword, and even though B also appears to be var, but it is actually behaves like implicit global variable in this context.
Okay. So
So I guess like we cannot access implicit global variables before they are declared. I guess for B, I'm sure that we will get an error saying B is not defined, and for A, I think we'll get undefined because of hoisting.
okay. Okay. Uh.
Yeah. Yes, I
Okay.
think yeah.
Just remove this. And
Which one?
remove all the statements.
Okay.
Put let A equals to 2.
A equal to 2.
In second line, put let A equals to 5,
Okay.
and do console log of A in third line. So what will be the output?
I think we'll get an error saying that A is already declared because we're trying to have the same variable with let in the same global scope. I
Okay.
think we will get an error.
Okay. So, and if we put var, then
For both the cases or any one of the A?
you told me about let. Okay. So tell me what will be the output in this situation.
Here we will get an error saying that variable A is already declared.
Variable A is already declared. Okay. If we put var instead of let, so will there be any change in the output, or will it remain the same?
Okay. For both the cases, where instead of let's, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there we'll get 5 as the output because with where we can have multiple variables declared in the same scope, and the latter will override the previous value.
So same scope is the reason you mean to say there is a difference between var and let.
Yes, sir. Because of this reason only let and cons they were introduced, kind of to preserve the scoping nature in JavaScript.
Okay, so
Here we'll get 5 in case of if both are var.
okay, output, that's fine, but the reason. Okay, tell me the difference between let and var.
Yes, sir. Regarding the scoping scenario, let is a block scoped variable and var is a function scoped variable.
Okay,
And coming to hoisting, var declared key variables are hoisted with undefined as the initialized value. Whereas for let, they are hoisted, but they are kept in temporal dead zone before their actual line of initialization is encountered in the code, and they are not like initialized with any default values like undefined in the case of var.
okay. Tell me,
Uh,
const, it can be redeclared.
no, sir. Const also cannot be redeclared in the same scope, just like let. The same variable name. We cannot have multiple const with the
And
same
let
variable name.
we can redeclare. Let.
No, sir. Let and const, these both cannot be like redeclared if the variable name is same in the same scope.
So what is the difference between let and const?
Okay. One of the main difference is that we can change the values of let later in our code, but we cannot like reassign the values to a const. This is one difference. And other difference is we have to initialize in the same line as declaration for const, but we can just declare and may not initialize a let, but initialization for const is must.
Okay. Uh,
And regarding casting, both work the same way.
okay. So take an array.
Sure. Should I comment this out?
Yeah, it's up to you. So take an array
Okay.
and put. There should be another three brackets inside that array. Like in one bracket should be 1 2, another bracket should be 3 4, and one more should be
You mean
5
like
6.
sub arrays? Sub arrays, right?
Yes.
Okay, one, and in the second one I have two.
In the first subarray
Yes, sir.
there should be 1 2
Okay.
and 3 4 5 6. And no,
Okay.
3 4 5 6 should be in another.
Okay. Like this.
Yes. Now
Okay.
just I want in a single array all the elements. How will you do that?
Okay. So I think I can use the flat method of the array,
Flat method. Okay, please go ahead.
which shows. I think I have to specify to how many levels. So I think one level would be sufficient, I guess. Yes, sir. Sure. I think this should work.
Go ahead. Go ahead with the output.
Okay. Okay, I think flat does not modify the array. Yes. Just let me store this in other array. Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you do that without inbuilt method?
Yes, sir. I'll try without inbuilt also.
Yeah.
I'll define a function
Okay.
which is flat array. I'll be expecting an array as argument,
Okay.
and along with this, I'll also accept another argument which is the depth of the array.
Okay.
So user can specify till how many levels he can flat this particular array, and if that particular depth which he wants is equal to 0, then it means that array needs no more flatness. So I'll return that array itself. Otherwise, what I can do is I'll loop through the array,
Yeah.
and I'll check the type of each index value.
Yeah.
If it is a number, just let me have this. I'll declare a empty array first. If this is a number, then I'll push it inside this resultant array.
Okay.
Okay, so this the input that I'm getting, is it only sub arrays or can there be objects also inside array?
So I don't want any objects.
Okay, I mean basically the array should be flattened even if there
Yes.
are any.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Okay, so if it is not a number, then what I can do is basically I can call this like a recursive call,
Okay.
and I can like initially I can call this with, see, if that particular array of I not a number, then it can be an object. I'm assuming it can be an array in this case.
Okay.
I'll pass that entire array of I, and I'll also pass the depth with one less, because this is to ensure that I am decreasing the depth gradually,
Okay.
and I can push the result of that inside my result array. But before doing that, I have to flatten whatever array I'm getting.
Okay.
And I think this should work. I'll just return this from the function. Yes, sir. I'll just check this.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an array. Okay, I have array. Okay, if I do like one,
Hmm.
console log the result also. Okay, just I'm double checking my function. So if the depth that the user gave is 0, then I'll return the array as it is. Otherwise, I'll create a result array,
Hmm.
and I'm looping through the array,
Hmm.
and I'm checking the type of for every element. If it is a number, I'll push it. Otherwise, I will call the function with the depth as -1, like decreasing the depth gradually,
Yeah.
and whatever the result it gives, I am flattening it because I know that it will give me an array, but I don't want to store it as an array. Otherwise, if I don't spread it, I will get the same input array. So I am spreading it here. Okay, so yeah, let me
Okay.
check. Yes, sir, I'm getting it.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. 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 We'll go ahead.
Sure, sir.
If you want to comment out these statements, then you can.
Yeah,
Okay.
functional.
So do a console log
Okay,
and put as a string 4.
4.
Yes.
Okay,
Plus
plus
6.
as a string or number.
No, not as a string. Only
Okay,
just 6 and uh, into
okay, into
5.
5.
Yes. What will be the output?
Okay, so we have two operators, plus and multiplication. So multiplication has higher precedence than summation. So this 6 into 5 will be evaluated first, which will be 30, and then string 4 gets added to 30. So I think we'll get an answer as 430 as a string.
Okay. Do
Yes.
that. You can reverse that sign. Do plus. Yes. Enter
Okay.
and that plus.
That's okay. Okay, so this is first evaluated. So this, yeah, here type coercion will happen because JavaScript coerces, if there is a multiplication, it will coerce the string into a number type for compatible data types, and we will get 24 here, and if I add 5, I'll get 29, sir.
You can go ahead. Check it.
Sure. Yes, sir, I'm getting 29.
And you have checked the first one as well.
No, I'll check it.
What you told for first one is 430.
430. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
So, if I told you what will be the type of
Mhm.
NN,
Type of NaN.
yes, and if you do console of it, so what will be the output?
Okay, I'll do this type of NaN, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'll get a number.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Uh,
Yes, sir. Should I check it?
If you want, then you can check it.
Okay. Yes,
Uh,
sir. Number.
okay. Okay. Do a console
Okay.
of 5 as a
5.
string
Okay.
minus 3 as a string
Okay.
plus
Plus
6.
6.
What will be the output?
Okay, this 6 is number, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here minus and plus both have the same precedence, and associativity also is from left to right. So guess this minus is evaluated first. So we are removing the string 3 from string 5. So again here JavaScript performs a type coercion, and both will be coerced to a number which is 5 and 3. So that will be 5 minus 3, which is 2, and 2 plus 6 would be 8.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mhm. Okay. Have a array
Okay.
and
Just a second. Yeah.
put characters Z A,
Like this.
yes, A,
Z A.
D,
Sorry, D
B,
B
and E.
E. Okay.
Okay, and sort it without inbuilt method.
Okay. Mm, sure. Okay, so this I think basically has to deal with the ASCII values of the characters.
Okay.
So just let me test my code once. Okay, so okay, how do I get the ASCII values of a particular character?
You are asking me?
No, sir, I was like thinking like
Okay.
how do
Okay, okay, fine. No worries. Do you have any idea or shall we go ahead?
yes, sir, just give me a minute. If I am unable to do,
Okay,
maybe
okay.
you can give
Yeah,
me
yeah, that's fine, that's
another
fine.
one. Yeah, I'm like just checking if this works. Okay, getting nan, so this is not the way. Okay, let me do this. Okay, this is also not working. No, sir, I'm unable to get how to find ASCII values.
Okay, do you have any other method other than ASCII values?
Like I know the built-in method sort, which sorts based on the first occurrence in a string, like comparing ASCII values. Other than like built-in that sort method, I have no idea.
Okay, do that with the built-in method.
Sure. Yeah, it is sorting.
Okay, okay, what's the rating you can give in JavaScript yourself?
I'll give like in JavaScript like from 6.5 to anywhere between 7.5.
Okay, okay. Uh, do you know the difference between shallow copy and deep copy?
Yes, sir.
Can you go ahead?
Sure, sir. Deep copies are a copy of a array or any object in that matter, where in all the levels of the data is copied and new values are created. So the entire object is replicated in a sense, all the levels, the top level data and also the nested level, and this creates a deep copy. In deep copy, any changes made to the clone node or the cloned object will not affect the original object. This is regarding deep copy, and in shallow copy, the for the nested objects, I would say only the reference is copied. For the top level bodies, they are copied as values. So in a shallow copy, if I change some properties of the nested things, then it will affect the parent object also,
Why it will affect?
because they are sharing the same reference. So whatever
Okay,
changes
fine,
I made,
got it, got it.
yes,
Uh, can you tell me the difference between set timeout and set interval?
yes, set timeout basically takes two. It's basically a higher order function
Yeah,
which takes two arguments, where the first argument is a callback function
yeah.
which is to be executed after some delay. That delay will give as the second argument.
Okay,
Whereas in set interval, the difference is it is executed for every regular interval of the delay. Like if we pass 2 seconds, then it will be executed for every 2 seconds.
okay.
In set,
So if we want to stop, then how can we do that?
I can use the clear timeout and clear interval
Okay.
methods. Yes, sir.
Uh,
Like this will return some timer ID, and I can use that to
yeah,
clear
yeah,
them
got
out.
it, got it, got it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me. Just give me a second. Okay. Do a console.
Just a second. Yeah.
NaN.
nan.
double equal to
Okay.
NN, and copy this and do with the triple equal to as well.
Okay.
So tell me the output.
Okay. So not a number. I'm checking basically not number. So I guess it will be false in both the cases, sir.
Uh, can you tell me why it will be false?
Yes, sir. It is actually one of the interesting behaviors of JavaScript that even though both are NA, they are not equal because we get a name generally like when we want something to be a number, but it could not be a number because of some violations in it regarding the number rule. So the NaN can be the result of any expression. So just because it is NaN, I cannot say that these two expressions are equal.
Okay, got it, got it.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
can you write a function
Yeah.
that returns the longest word in a sentence? You can have any sentence, and from that sentence, you have to bring out the longest word.
Just a second. Yeah. So this is our sentence. I have to return the longest word, right?
Longest word, yes.
So which in this case I would
Yes,
get this
sentence.
as the result. Okay. Function. I'll have a string as an input, and I have to return the longest word. Okay. So let me have an array. I'll loop through. Okay, just a second. Either I can split this string using the space as the delimiter,
Mhm.
and I can uh, like can I do trial and run just to see
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
how?
sure, sure.
Okay. Okay, what is the issue? Cannot read properly. Okay, I have not passed it. Okay, I'm getting them like an array. Okay, so yeah, so I can basically have find the maximum element in a number kind of a scenario.
Okay.
So then, if I know this, then basically I can have answer array. I can store the length. So I'll iterate through this resultant array, whatever it is there. Or I'll do this normal for loop only. Then I can push the length of the particular index. Then I'll console answer. Now let me see. Okay, I'm getting the length. So from this, I will have a let max length. Initially, I'll give it 0. Then I'll loop through this answers array, and I'm checking that if I is greater than max length, then I'll do max length equal to I. But the thing in this approach is I'll just get the length. So I do not know what index it is of. So I'll use the normal for loop only. If I is greater than max length, then I'll make it as max length. I'll also make that particular index value as this. This is answers of I. Then we have this also. So I'll get the index from this.
Mhm.
So then I can basically return it from the result like this. So I think this should work. Let me check. I is not defined. Okay, this is index. Okay, I'm not getting anything. Why? Okay, in the answers I have strings. Sorry, I have the lengths of the string, I guess. And I'm looping through answers and I'm checking that if it is greater than this, I'm assigning it and I'm changing the index. Okay, and I'm returning that particular value from the result array. Let me see what I'm getting as an index from here. I'm getting the correct index. Oh, got it. This is returning it. So const result, and I can log this result. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is done.
Got it. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. How do you find a factorial of a number in JavaScript? You know factorial?
Yes, sir. I know factorial.
Okay.
It is basically the multiplication till one from that particular number.
Okay. Go ahead with the program.
Yeah. So let me have a number. I'll take 5. Let me have a function find factorial. Takes a number. So I'll define my base cases here. If the number is equal to 1 or number is equal to 0, I'll return 1. Otherwise, what I can do is just a second. I will have the result. Initially, it can be 1. Like if I have to do it like this in a recursive manner, then I can do this like this, decreasing it at each step, and I can multiply this with the name itself. Yeah, this should work. I have this with this. So num is 5. So 5 into factorial of 4. Then I get 5 into 4 into 3 into 2. So then I'll get that thing sorted out. Then for maybe 2 gets multiplied. Yeah, I guess this should work. I'll check it. It is returning, right? Yes, sir. It is returning.
5. You are
Uh,
finding the factorial of 5, right?
yeah.
Mm,
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I have taken 5 as a number.
5. Okay. Okay, fine.
Or I can employ normal for loop also.
Okay. No, no worries. I got it.
Yes.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, mhm, can you tell me the difference between map method and for each method?
Okay, sir. So for each and map, both are higher order functions that operate primarily on arrays. Uh, Both are used to iterate over each element of an array, but the difference is for each can be used to perform some operations on the array, but we cannot return anything from for each. Whereas in map, we can return whatever modifications that have to be performed over each element of an array.
So, map method, will it
Yes, sir.
return new array?
Yes, map returns a new array.
For each?
For each, I think it will not return a new array. It will modify. Uh,
Okay.
I'm not sure. Maybe I don't think it also modifies. I think it will also return me a new array. I guess I'm guessing. I'm not sure with for each, but map returns a new array for sure.
Okay. Okay. No worries. Uh, mm, mm, mm. Okay. Can you tell me? Uh, okay, we will move to React. You know JSX, right?
JSX, yes, sir. I know it.
Can you tell me what is JSX?
Yes, sir. JSX is basically JavaScript and XML. It is a way to kind of write HTML like structure in our JavaScript file itself.
Okay.
Even though it is not, I would say, pure HTML, but it appears like HTML.
Okay. So that JSX is understandable by browsers.
No, it will actually be kind of transpiled into HTML. The JSX will be.
And who transpiles it?
Babel, sir.
Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. React have its competitors, right? Do you know their competitors?
Yeah, I primarily heard about two competitors. One is Angular and another is Vue.js, I guess.
Okay. Okay. So, tell me what's the difference between React and its competitors, Angular and Vue.js?
Okay, I'd say the difference is that React is a library rather than being a framework, and Angular is a framework.
Okay.
So React has an edge over Angular, I would say. I'm not sure about Vue.js, so I'd be like talking about React and Angular. I'll be
Okay.
comparing only
No
these
worries.
two. So React is a JS library, whereas Angular is a framework.
Yes.
So library gives us a little more freedom on how we can organize our file structures, the naming conventions, whereas frameworks employ stricter rules and their own conventions. This is one of the reason why React is popular compared to Angular. Another reason I would say is it is easier to learn React once you know JavaScript compared to Angular
Why it is
because
easier?
Yeah, because of its nature, like how React is treated. Basically, in React we can have components in class based or functional based. Even though class based is not used in modern days these days, so functional components are employed, and writing in functions is easier, and it is also easier to understand what are props, what are states, and the unidirection flow of props. And React also has a community support more greater compared to Angular.
Okay, that's
Even
a
though Angular is.
that's a different case. Like community wide supports because it has better
Mhm.
features.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so that's a different case. But okay, you told me these points. Okay, that's fine. Do you know what React uses? It uses virtual DOM or real DOM.
Yes, sir. Like it has a virtual DOM in itself, and it will compare this virtual DOM, like basically it has a kind of, I would say, a lightweight copy of actual DOM, but it has very less properties and methods compared to what an actual DOM consists of.
Okay,
So
okay. So
in
yeah, yeah. Go
yes,
ahead.
so if I have to change the state or display some changes on my UI, it will basically track those changes via states, and it will update its virtual DOM. So after updating its virtual DOM, whatever changes it has done, it will make the changes, only those changes to the actual DOM, rather than repainting entire DOM in the browser. It will only make modifications to wherever actually it is modified.
So virtual DOM, it makes the processing slower, right?
Yes, sir. There is, I would say, overhead in a computation regarding this
So
virtual DOM.
it makes the processing slower. You mean to say?
No, I mean the updates to the UI would be faster compared to vanilla JavaScript, because the number of comparisons that it has to make is less when employed React.
I'm asking a simple question.
Yes, sir.
Does virtual DOM makes the
Mhm.
processing slower as compared to real DOM?
You mean combining this virtual and actual DOM? Like,
So we know that React.js uses virtual DOM, right?
yes, sir.
Angular uses real DOM.
Yes.
So processing, processing, right?
Yeah, like comparing the differences.
Not comparing the differences. Processing means uh, doing the computations faster or doing. You got right, processing.
Yes, sir. Like I need just a little clarity, like on what exactly you mean by processing. Like, is it updating the UI by comparing
Okay, tell
that?
me the difference between real DOM and virtual DOM.
Yes, sir. Real DOM is basically the object model of our HTML structure in a tree like format,
Okay.
which has properties and methods for each node in that tree. Whereas virtual DOM is an object like structure that React uses, which contains less properties and methods. Basically, it just has like props, children, the types, refs, that's it. It will not have all those properties that real DOM actually has.
Okay. That's the main difference.
Yes, so this is the main difference in virtual and real DOM.
Okay. Okay. Tell me what's the difference between stateful components and stateless components?
Okay, stateful components are those components, uh, the logic that relies on some state changes. Whenever like these states, some changes in the state are to be monitored for re-rendering, those logic which we write can be called as stateful components, whereas in stateless components we cannot monitor the state. They are like just stale components, like displaying a static, not even static, just displaying some text that we give to it as props.
You
Like basically, state monitoring will be missing in stateless components.
okay? Like so, you know which components are known as stateless components?
Okay, so in React, before the coming of hooks, functional components were stateless.
Okay, got it, got it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So actually, in the previous question which I told you, uh, regarding the processing,
Yes, sir.
you like I missed that point. The processing. You didn't got the processing, right?
Yes, sir. I was
Okay,
having a,
so
I needed clarification.
you know performance of the application.
Yes, sir.
So I'm
Performance.
saying due to virtual DOM, the performance of the application it becomes slower or faster
Okay, you mean that? Yeah, it will become faster, sir, compared to vanilla JavaScript. Because
compared to real DOM.
yeah, compared to real DOM also, it will be faster. Even though like we are having a virtual DOM, it will be faster because the comparisons that have to be needed to re-render the changes in the UI are less when we employ virtual DOM. Whereas for real DOM, we have to compare each and every property of the previous real DOM with the current real DOM,
Okay, got
which
it.
is
Yes.
yes,
What's the role of fragment in JSX?
yes, fragments. Like we know that from a component we can only return one one element, and we can nest them. But if we use that parent nested element as a div, it adds additional overhead. So to remove this issue, React introduced fragments, wherein just we can have an empty tags open and close, and we can put whatever we have to return inside them. So this is actually lightweight compared to a div tag. So it is boosts a little bit performance.
Okay. So because of the performance we use fragments.
Yes, sir, that is one reason, and another reason is the readability of our HTML that is displayed. That will also be good if there are no unnecessary divs for wrapping.
Okay, do you know what is temporal dead zone in
Yes, sir.
JavaScript?
Yeah, yes.
Can you go ahead?
Oh, sure, sir. Temporal dead zone is a concept that is associated with the hoisting nature of let and const variables. So whenever let and const are, we try to access them before they are initialized. uh, we will get that we cannot access them before initialization. So what actually happens is, even though they are hoisted, they are not initialized with any default value like undefined. They are kept
Okay,
in the
can you
temporal
go
bracket
ahead
zone.
with the example?
Okay, sure.
Have a function and inside that create a temporal dead zone.
Function. Okay.
Show me like where will be the temporal dead zone will be.
Okay. So let's say I have some variable a. I've initialized it with the value 10, and if I am trying to access it before it is initialized, here actually, here will be the TD Z, temporal dead zone.
Okay.
Like the access is restricted.
Okay. There will be access. Okay. Okay, got it. Uh, we will continue with the React.js. Do you know what is code splitting in React.js?
Code splitting.
Have you worked with
I've
code
had
splitting?
no, sir. I have not worked with
Okay, no worries, no
code
worries.
splitting.
Uh,
Yeah.
mm, okay,
Like
you have
maybe.
worked with class or functional, like you have worked with both, or you have worked with uh, class components
Mm,
only, or have you worked with functional components only, or have you worked with both?
Okay, primarily I've worked with functional components only, but just to know what a class component and how it is treated, I think I've tried employing class component once just to see how the flow is.
Okay, you have worked with class components. Hmm.
Yeah, just at a limited period, just maybe for 1 2 days. That's it.
Okay, okay,
Primarily functional components only I've dealt with.
okay. So okay, I won't be able to. Okay, I just want to know. Do you know the role of super keyword in constructor?
Yes, sir. It is basically like in the components, whichever extend the component class, there inside that constructor we have to call the super, because whenever some class extends another class,
Okay,
in that child component we must call the super method in the constructor, because it is, I think, a common sense to have all the common properties that a child has to register it with the parent.
okay,
So that's why. So I can give an example.
okay,
Okay, I'll have, let's say, an animal class and another child class which is a dog.
okay,
So I know that this dog is also an animal. So I'll extend the animal class to the dog class, and inside dog's class constructor, I'll first call the super constructor of the animal, and I'll pass some arguments like the name. So this name I will deal with the constructor of the animal class.
okay, okay. Uh,
Yes, sir. This is.
got it, got it. So, uh, mm. Do you know what are React routers?
Yes, sir. React router is used in React basically for routing purposes, like when we have to switch from one kind of page to another page, or from one URL to another URL.
Okay, okay. Mm. Okay, in JavaScript, what are the types of errors you know?
In JavaScript, there is reference error
Okay,
basically, and that was one. Another is syntax error,
yeah,
and another is type error.
type error. Okay, okay, okay. Uh, sh- sh-
Yes,
sh-
sir.
sh- 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 okay,
I'm
okay.
able to.
You have worked with lifecycle methods.
Uh, like I know that there are lifecycle methods in for class based, and in functional based, we have the use effect hook to manage lifecycle methods.
Okay, so for unmounting purpose,
Okay.
how will you use in functional components?
Okay. So in functional, I have an hook called use effect, which manages the side effects that occur in our
No, no, I
component.
know.
So
You told me use effect, but what will be the parameters you will
yeah.
be using?
Okay. Use effect takes two parameters. One is the callback, and another is the dependency array. So in callback, I can write whatever logic I have to perform. Then I can return some
For
function from
unmount,
it.
no, no. I know that it will be first will be the callback function and the other will be the dependency. But what will be in unmounting phase in functional components? What will be what you will be
Okay.
writing it?
Okay, I'll be like, if I have to do something on unmount, then I'll write it in the return function of the callback in the use effect.
You will write return function.
Yeah, I'll basically return some function in the callback, and that function deals with whatever has to happen when the component is going to be unmounted.
Okay, so you mean to say you will be only writing the return function.
Yeah, that return some
That's it.
state function. Yes, sir. Basically, in the
No
callback, I'll.
dependency array.
Okay, so in the dependency, like whatever the React has to monitor for state changes, I'll store them in the dependency
Okay,
array.
got it.
and those which use effect depends upon.
Okay, got it, got it. Uh, how will you pass the data from child to parent?
Okay, from child to parent.
Yes.
So I've heard of a concept called state lifting, but I've not sure I've used it before.
Do you know callback function?
Yes, sir, I know callback function.
So what do you do with that callback function?
Okay, callback functions are those functions which are to be called back after like some event or some time has happened. So I can basically have some logic inside that function which I can execute it after some event has happened or some time has gone.
So this callback function you are talking, it is in React.js?
Okay, I mean this is like in general JavaScript. In React, I would say
Have you do you know callback function in React.js?
okay. Just to be precise, is it like normal callback or use callback hook you are talking about?
Okay, what is use callback hook?
Okay, use callback hook is basically used in React whenever we have to memorize the function instance.
Do you know normal callback function?
Yes, sir. Callbacks, we can pass it to hooks, whichever accept the arguments as callbacks, and we can uh, define them in hooks, and they will be called whenever the component renders, or like we can specify.
What what is the specific purpose why we use what is the specific purpose of using the callback function?
Okay, callback functions are executed whenever like some event happens or some some asynchronous code. Majorly, they will
So
use
we are talking
callback.
about React.js, right?
Yes, sir. Like I'm
Okay.
not
Yeah, yeah.
what
Go ahead,
callback
Satyam.
will be.
Go ahead. What you were saying?
So, like for rendering a list from a product, then I can use the callback inside the map method. Like this is general purpose, but strictly what is in React, I'm not aware of. Like,
Okay, no
is there
worries, no
difference
worries,
in
no
JS
worries,
and React?
no worries, no worries. Okay. Uh, do you know the difference between context API and Redux?
Yes, sir. Context API and Redux both are used for state management.
Yeah.
Context API is basically, I guess, limited only to React, whereas Redux can be used for any JavaScript applications, not just for React.
Okay.
In Context API, basically, so like why we use Context API is to avoid the problem of prop drilling.
So
So
does Redux helps us to avoid prop drilling?
yes, sir. Redux also avoids helps in avoiding prop
Oh,
drilling.
so there is no difference in that prop drilling.
Yes.
So yeah.
In Redux,
So what
yeah.
are the other differences?
The difference is like basically how they help in monitoring the state and managing it. In Context API, we we have to create a context using the create context hook.
No, no,
And
that's fine. Both are used for the state management.
yes, sir.
So, like, when should we prefer context API? When should we prefer Redux? Can you tell me that?
Okay. So Redux can be employed in complex and big projects, whereas Context API is good for small to medium size.
Okay, got it, got it.
In okay,
Mm. Have you used custom hooks?
yes, sir. Not that much, but I think I've used it like once or twice.
Okay. Do you know why we use it?
Yes, sir. So if we want to like to have some functionality which might appear in different components, rather than using the hooks in each and every component, we can extract that hooks logic into our custom hook, and we can import that into our components wherever it is required. We can perform some operations which we can do in custom hooks.
Okay. Tell me the difference between use memo and use callback.
Okay, so use callback and use memo are both the hooks provided by React. Use callback is basically used when we want to memorize the function instance, whereas use memo is used when we want to cache the result that is provided by a function. So the use cases would be like if I don't want the function instance to be created every time the component is rendered, I can use callback for that function definition, and I can provide it with a dependency array to monitor for some changes in the state, and if that happens, then a new function instance can be created. And use memo, basically if I have to perform some complex or time taking or heavy calculations, and I can expect similar inputs different times, then I can use memo hook for that particular function, whatever it is performing that operation, and there also I can specify a dependency array. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So this it.
Okay. Have you used Redux?
Yes, sir, I've used Redux.
Do you know few? What are the features of Redux?
Yes, sir. Redux basically deals with managing our state through a store. It has actually a Redux store which has some state and some actions that are to be performed on our state to basically change our state or update our state, and it does change the state using the reducer functions. So basically we have action types, action creators, and reducers which are associated with our store, and they are used to modify the state.
Okay. What are the parts of Redux?
Sorry, I did not get like.
Parts. There are reducer, action,
Yeah, yeah. So
and
we have dispatch is also there.
this is the
Okay,
parts of Redux.
like we have state, we have actions, and we have reducers.
State, action, and reducer.
Yes, sir. So these are basically what a Redux store consists of.
Okay. Uh, I guess okay, that's fine. You can check it out on this. Tell me
Sure.
what is the use of store?
Okay, store basically lets us use the facilities of Redux, like whenever we like. It's basically a kind of a organized way of writing and managing our states. So store gives us like get state method. We have dispatching. We have subscribe method on it. So basically, these are the things that
Okay, that's
store.
fine. Method. Okay, what is the general use of that tool? Why we use it? I don't want that methods and all. Like general use.
Yeah, like generally we can use store. Uh, like if we want to get some data from the store or from this state in different components, then we can access the store. Sorry, access the state from the store, and then we can use them.
Okay, got it. Mm, do you know what are middlewares?
Yes, sir. Middlewares are also a kind of part of a store, a Redux store.
So, okay, just a second. Like
Okay, so this
middleware.
is what you meant by parts of Redux. I
Yeah,
think no.
it's a part of Redux, but
Yeah.
is it a compulsion?
Sorry?
Is it a compulsion? Middleware?
No, no, sir. Middlewares are optional.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, like
So,
whenever we.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So like middlewares are used basically when we have to stop the propagation of some action directly going to the reducer, and if we want to perform some in between, then we can do that. So it is helpful majorly in fetching.
In fetching.
Yes, sir, fetching the data. So using middlewares, we can fetch the data, and after that, we can pass this propagation to the reducer, and then reducer can update our state
Okay.
by the data that we got.
Okay. So tell me. So it's an interface between what? Middleware.
Interface between uh, dispatching some actions and the till it reaches the reducer. Like
Okay.
from the
Okay.
dispatch,
Got it. So you told me. What's the use of middleware? You told me is hello.
should I repeat it?
Yeah. Just yeah. You can repeat.
Okay, so middlewares are basically used to handle some operations, such operations, which like we would like to
You told
perform.
me regarding the fetch, right?
Yes, sir, fetching some
Okay,
data.
so only fetching purpose,
Uh,
or like if we want to, okay, so if we want to cancel the action, then how can we do that?
okay, like in middleware, we can have this next method. Only if it is called, it will move to the reducer. Otherwise, it will stay there only.
Okay, okay. Uh, okay, we will move to HTML. Tell me, like how much HTML CSS you have used? Like, okay, so for CSS, what you have done? Like you have done only the simple designing part, or like you have used libraries for designing, like such as uh,
You mean like shared C
material
and
UI and all.
no, sir. Like I have not used it.
Okay, that's fine, that's
Yes.
fine, no worries. So we'll move to HTML. Like what is the difference between HTML and XHTML?
Okay, so XHTML is a stricter version, like a stricter form of HTML. In a HTML, like
What
the
do you mean
main
by
difference,
stricter form?
like the rules that it imposes on the way of writing the syntax for
Okay,
elements, I would say.
okay, okay,
So in a HTML, we have majorly like uh, normal tags which have an opening and a closing tag, and we can also have void or self closing tags. But it is optional to use the slash for closing a open tag, like a void tag, whereas it is mandatory to close a tag which is opened in XHTML. And if it is a void tag like an image tag, then we must put slash in the opening tag like before the end,
okay,
whereas in HTML it is optional.
okay, fine, fine. So what is the difference between em tag and I tag?
Em tag and I tag.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Have you worked on
So
those tags?
yes, sir, I have used them. So basically, I tag and em tag both styling wise will italicize the text whatever it is there.
Okay.
But regarding, I would say, accessibility or to those people who are using screen readers, using em tag would be better because their em tag is basically used when we have to emphasize some text. So
Okay.
in that case, it will be useful accessibility and highlighting the importance of the text that the user is reading. Whereas in iTag, even though the style appears same, there is some difference in how it is read out by the screen reader.
Okay. Uh, we'll move to CSS. What is specificity in CSS?
Okay, specificity is basically a mechanism used by CSS to figure out what style should I apply to particular element in case of competing styles.
Okay.
So if let's say I have a class and an ID or an element, and I've used this ID and class as selectors and I applied different styles. So in this case, CSS prefers the ID over class because
Okay.
it has higher specificity.
Okay, got it.
Yes, sir.
Uh, how can we hide the element in CSS?
Sorry,
How can we
hiding. Okay,
hide the element in CSS?
okay. We can use visibility hidden.
Okay.
Sorry, visibility none, I guess. And another is I can use the hidden attribute, and the display I can set it to none also. Yes, sir. Visibility hidden and display none.
Okay, so what is the difference? Just give me a second.
Sure.
Yeah, so where we were like, yeah, what is the difference between display none and visibility hidden?
Yes, sir. Display none basically makes our element hide from the UI, and it will also not reserve any space for that particular
Okay,
whatever it is
okay,
size it has to take. And in case of visibility hidden, it will just remove that, but it will I think reserve the space in the document for that.
okay, fine. Can we overlap elements in CSS? Yes or no?
Overlapping, I mean like content over another content, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Like we can use positioning for that.
Okay, okay. Uh, how can we format text in CSS?
Formatting,
Yes.
we can use the transform property of the text. Text transform, we can make it like uppercase or lowercase, and I can also do justify the text like I want it in the center, left, or right justification.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Currently, I'm able to think of these two.
Okay.
And aligning also I can do text aligning.
Okay. Uh, mhm. You don't know about CSS frameworks, right? Different CSS frameworks.
Like tailwind bootstrap like that.
Yeah, yeah. You haven't
Yeah, I
worked on it,
know.
right?
Yeah, I've worked on tailwind, but I've not used the like the what components that tailwind provides.
Okay, we have worked on. Okay, 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 fine. No worries. Mm. Okay, so that's it from my side. Okay.
Thank you, sir, giving for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, no worries.
And